Hi, my name is Donna, and in 2022, I received my second lung cancer diagnosis. My first diagnosis happened in 2015. Both cancers were fortunately caught early, but I did end up having two lobectomies. So currently, I have my full left lobe and a quarter of my right lobe. What do I wish I would have known in the very beginning? Well, when I first received my diagnosis, I didn't see anyone that looked like me, any young Black women who were non-smokers. My only memory is seeing news stories of people who died within months after receiving that lung cancer diagnosis. And so when I initially received my diagnosis, that's all I could think about. But because I'm a researcher at heart, I started digging and digging and digging, and I parsed through information that left me a little comfortable. But there were no other organizations that I knew about at the time. And so in 2018, I attended my first conference and met up with other lung cancer survivors and caregivers. And out of over 100 people, probably closer to 200, there were three others, including myself, who were African American. And that was really sad to me because I still kind of felt like I'm not alone, but I didn't see representation for myself. So 8 years later, when I've heard about this particular summit, I was excited, one, because I get to come to a place where everyone is going to look like me. And I only say that, not that anyone else's cancer to minimize that experience, but we do have a difference. There's a difference with people of color, especially when it comes to health disparities, care, treatment plans, and especially when in your mind, all you know is smoking and lung cancer. And so when that medical professional was asking me, as a young Black woman who's diagnosed with lung cancer, were you smoking? Some of that to me is a stigma, but also I can't get away from my Blackness, right? And so I'm like, would you ask a older white gentleman who came in here that same question, or someone who just didn't look like me? And so that kind of led me to becoming a fierce advocate, one, for myself, but then also to kind of erase that stigma and to show people, one, it's not a death sentence. Two, if you catch it, you can cure it and you can live a long life. And if it is late stage lung cancer, you can still live a long, healthy life. So I just think changing the messaging around lung cancer, changing the face, seeing other young, vibrant people with this deadly diagnosis this diagnosis that doesn't really even receive the amount of funding, but also the amount of attention. And so I think for me, just being a part of change, being a change maker, trailblazer, showing that I'm actually healthier after this diagnosis than I was before. I have a group of young women, young Black women, who we all have similar stories, and most of us can say we're healthier overall after this diagnosis. Again, fortunately for me, both of my cancers were caught early, but none of them were caught because someone was looking for it. Well, I take that back. The second one was caught because someone was looking for it, but in 2015, I had really bad allergies. I coughed a lot at night, and I had some symptoms. I had a rescue inhaler all of the time. I was diagnosed as having asthma, but none of that is what sent me to the ER. I went to the ER because I had been diagnosed as a diabetic and my blood sugar was extremely high. And so the chest pains I experienced, I associated with my blood sugar being high. And I didn't want to take the medication. I was like, I'm gonna thug this out. I'm gonna get my body together on my own. And so for me, I went to the ER that night because of that. I listened to my body. I listened to the Spirit of God who said, get up and go right now to the ER. And then I was also fortunate that in that ER, when they took that chest x-ray, a doctor came in and took a second look and called me the next day and said, go see your doctor right away. There's a mass on your lung. I recognize that story is not everyone else's story. I'm sure there are some of us out there, but the majority of the people don't have a clean, straight path in that manner. And so it starts with listening to your body, because 3-6 months later, I'm pretty sure it would have been a different situation with me. The cancer had started growing rapidly at the point where I caught it. My other message is, when you're diagnosed, never ever miss a follow-up scan. And because of that, a second cancer was caught early, but it was missed for 2 years by the place where I was receiving treatment at the time. But because I'm an advocate, and because I read all of my reports, because I never missed a scan, when I went to a cancer center, they were able to trace back through all of my pictures to find out when it started growing again. So I still have an idea of when to kind of take that second look, the time period associated when the slow growing tumor starts to multiply. So again, never miss a scan, listen to your body, ask tons of questions. This is a time where I would say Google, find some words that are like medical jargon. You walk in there and you use those words, they'll listen to you because they know you're serious and they know that you've done your work.